I was asked by a neighbor down the road to get their mower not just ready for the season, but to also fix it because the pull rope was getting difficult to use. Now, getting it ready for the season isn't going to be tough, so we're not going to focus on that part. But the mystery of the pull rope is not only more interesting, but if we don't take care of it now, it's only going to get more painful if we leave it alone. And believe me, it'll leave a mark on you that you won't soon forget. In today's video, we're going to be looking at this rather nice looking Troy-Bilt lawnmower. And the problem is that the pull rope is tough to pull, but only when the engine is on the compression stroke. And if you're not careful and pull the rope without getting it close to the compression stroke, the handle will fly out of your hand and hit your other hand on the handlebar. If you don't believe me or you haven't seen it happen before, then you didn't see the video of me trying to start it and that very thing happened to me. The pain was pretty bad, but after a huge bowl of ice cream, I felt a whole lot better. So there is one more thing we want to look at, but it's something that they didn't mention, and that is a sound coming from the recoil while the engine is running. Now, despite them living several houses away from me, I can hear this noise from my front door, so I'd like to look into it and see if it's something that we can fix. But on the off chance that we need to order new parts for this engine or the mower, I made sure to record the information from the stickers. So it looks like they left last year's gasoline in the fuel tank, but that was only a couple of months ago, so it should still be usable. Of course, we're going to check on the oil too, just to make sure we don't damage the engine if we happen to start it. I don't know what kind of maintenance routine they were on, but it looks like it was working because the oil level is right where it needs to be. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll show you by slowly pulling on the rope. And as you can see, the rope is pretty easy to pull, except for when the engine is trying to compress the air. That's when it's tough to pull. Now sometimes that can happen if the ignition timing is off after the blades hit something really hard like a stump. But to check if that's the case, we'll just disconnect the spark plug wire and see if it's still doing it. And if it is, then the timing might be off, and that's a totally different kind of repair. But if it's still doing it, then the most likely suspects are the valve clearances or out of tolerance. And as you can see, there is no change to the problem, which means it's not the timing, but we'll need to inspect the valve clearances now. Next, we'll reconnect that spark plug wire, and then I'll show you the procedure you have to do just to get it to start without getting a tattoo on the back of your hand. So if you do this wrong, the handle will fly out of your right hand, and even though there's not a bruise on the back of my hand now, it'll take about 2 days before it shows up. Now to inspect the valve clearances, we'll need to get access to the rocker arms under the valve cover. Checking and adjusting the clearances isn't tough, however you do need to be careful. But before we do that, let me start the engine and maybe you can hear the sound the recoil is making. I hope you heard that noise because it's tough for the microphone to pick up. Now to make this job less messy, since we are exposing part of the engine, I'm going to tip the mower up for a couple of minutes. This will help to get as much of the oil that's collected in the valve cover to return back to the engine. Because if you don't, when you take off the valve cover, a fair amount of oil might spill out of the engine. Sometimes this works great, while other times there's still some oil that'll leak out. And while the blade is easy to get to, we'll take it off to not only sharpen it, but to also balance it just in case it is out of balance. Now to do that, I use a very affordable balancer you can find online for only a couple of bucks. My only complaint is that the step that you might need to position the opening on isn't always available. That means you have to use the next size up, which is just a bit too small, making it tough to center. So I like to balance the blade before and after sharpening the blade. That way if it's out of balance, I can make more passes on the heavy end while sharpening it. Sometimes it doesn't work, but the majority of the time it's a real time saver. Just make sure to install the blade the correct way, otherwise if it's upside down, the blunt edge will make contact with the grass instead of the sharp one. To help keep the oil from spilling out, I'm going to make sure the front of the mower is higher up than the back. You could adjust the wheels to do the same thing, but I also don't want the mower to roll around either. I'm also going to take off the recoil to expose the flywheel, that way we can rotate the engine and also look at the posts for the starter pawls. And after getting a closer look at them, we can see a strange wear pattern on them, meaning the problem might be with the starter pawls themselves. Now it's not often we have to service the recoil, and in most cases we just replace them. But after pulling on the rope to watch how the pawls move, we can see that there's a problem with them. One of them seems to be working okay but not great, while the other one is not moving out as far as it should and is basically doing nothing. This one is probably the one that's making intermittent contact with the post, and that's where the sound is coming from. Now most times, the pawls don't move like they should because they're just dirty, and that's keeping them from working. And if that is the case, cleaning them with some brake cleaner and then lubricating them with a thin lube should be enough to save it. You might have to do this several times before you see an improvement on how they work, however, this doesn't always work to save them. And after several attempts to clean it and lubricate it, there's only a minor improvement, however, it's not enough and we'll have to go to the next step. So the next step is to carefully take it apart and inspect the individual parts for problems. If you don't know what you're looking for, I'd ask for help, otherwise you can take apart a different recoil and starter pawls and compare the two of them. So the one that's not working well is worn out from the intermittent contact and is also missing a tiny spring to help it stay in its track. Now luckily for us, we happen to have spare parts from a different recoil, so we'll give them a second chance in this machine. Now don't worry about the part's recoil, it was way past saving, so this is a great use for it. Now be careful with the bolt in the middle, because if you turn it the wrong way, you'll damage the recoil and you'll have to buy a new one to replace it. And after getting it back together, we'll try pulling on the rope to see how it works, and as you can see, it's now working just like it should be. So we're not ready to put the recoil back on just yet. Instead, we'll use this access to the flywheel so we can rotate the engine for the valve clearance inspection. You can of course use the blade to do the same thing, but I find this way a lot more convenient. As you can tell, I'm taking out the spark plug. This is so when we rotate the engine, we won't have to fight the engine compression. You can choose to leave it in if you want to, but it also helps us figure out when the piston is at the top of its travel by using our screwdriver. And with the valve cover gone, we can see the rocker arms for the valves. Next, we'll put the engine on top dead center, and to help out, we'll put a screwdriver into the spark plug opening, resting it against the piston. We'll then rotate the engine and watch for both valves to be fully closed and that the engine is all the way up. The valves aren't tough to see moving, but feeling for the piston is a bit harder to do. But with the engine at top dead center, should mean that both rocker arms are not under tension and loose. So I like to set my clearances to 5/1000ths of an inch, however, you're free to set it to what you think it should be. We'll then check how it fits between the top of the valve stem and the rocker arm, and as you can tell, it's much too loose in this clearance. And if there is too much clearance, it could cause the rope to be pulled back by the engine, which is the case here. But before adjusting the upper arm's clearance, we'll check the lower one too, and sure enough, it too is much too loose. Out of curiosity, I would like to see how far out the tolerances are, but you don't need to do this. I'll just use the 10/1000ths of an inch feeler for this, and turns out it wouldn't even fit in the lower arm, however it did fit in the upper one. In fact, the arm was still loose while checking the clearance, which means we can keep increasing the size of the feeler until we find the exact size the clearance has grown to. Now that we figured out just how bad it is, we'll start our adjustment by holding the nut while loosening the jam bolts in the middle. I'm choosing to loosen them both at the same time, but you're free to make your adjustments on each arm after loosening it. You don't have to loosen the jam bolts that much, just a couple of turns should be enough. Now to set the clearances, I'll slip the feeler gauge into the clearance and then turn the nut until the feeler gauge just almost gets stuck. The feeler should still be able to move in the clearance, but it should drag between the valve stem and the arm. Now the upper arm needed more turns than the lower one, which makes sense because it was further out of tolerance. Take your time doing this, it's not really tough to do, but if you do it wrong, your engine might not start or worse. But if it is your first time and you're not confident in doing it, then ask someone else for help. You do not need to do this job very often. In fact, I'd almost recommend just waiting until you start seeing problems. But if you do choose to do this bit of maintenance on a regular schedule, I think you'll see what I saw, and that is, it takes a long time for the valves to go out of tolerance. So instead of doing this every year, I'd say every 3 to 4 years would be ideal. That means you might end up doing this job only once or twice before getting a new mower. That means I might never get a chance to do this job on this mower again unless something terrible happens to it. This of course is on an engine with overhead valves, which makes it simple to work on, at least in comparison to a flathead where the valves are next to the piston. I do have ways of working on them when they're out of tolerance, but I won't show them here because it's very unconventional and I don't want to be responsible for what happens. So what I did just then was to rotate the engine by hand to feel if that tough spot was gone, which luckily it was, meaning the valve adjustment worked to fix our problem. But if the problem is still there, I would then double check the adjustments we made because mistakes can happen even to someone with experience. And once we know it's working better than it was before the repairs, we can then put the rest of the engine back together so we can do a proper test. but I would still use some caution when testing it just in case it's still off, that way you won't get a stinger on the back of your hand. I guess you could just wear a leather glove on that hand so it won't hurt so bad, but that is your choice to make. And after a slower than normal pull on the rope, we don't feel that resistance that we felt earlier, which means I think we can give it a proper pull and do a test start. So it's been running for several minutes and the engine should be good and hot. Let's see how it starts back up. And luckily for us, it started right back up without any issues, which is great news. Now most consumers don't realize how important the valve clearances are on an engine, and because of that, problems like a difficult pull rope show up. Not only that, but you could also have a hot starting problem, not to mention the engine running poorly too. But if you take the time once or twice in the lifetime of a machine to check the valve clearances, you can avoid these problems. Now I'm going to rate the difficulty on this repair as medium, but I can see how someone with very little experience would see this as difficult. And if that's you, please ask for help, otherwise you might do more harm than good. So my question is, would you attempt to do a valve adjustment on your own engine, or would you rather pay someone else with more experience to do it for you? Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.